Hi, Randy. How are you today?
Dorothy, I'm fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm great. Happy to have you here today.
Thank you.
You have a lot of years of experience in sales and marketing, and love to get a little bit of an introduction.
Certainly. Well, my name is Randy Crane. I'm also known as the fearless marketer. And there's actually a story behind that. So it's not something that I just made up, but we'll get into that later. I've been in the field of marketing, sales, and business communication since the early 80s. I've actually been in the field for 43 years. I've run over 5,500 sales and marketing campaigns in my career and generated about I think a little over $1.5 billion in sales revenue during my career. I'm really excited actually to be on your show because it's kind of a different twist, and I think this is going to be a great podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know a lot of probably audience members are going to question, how is this all related? How is sales related to salary negotiations? And I think you answered that when we were talking off stage. Would love to get your perspective on that piece.
Well, you know what? I'm of the adage that the whole world is a stage, and I'm quoting Shakespeare for that. We're all actors. We're all doing, you're a mother, you're a wife, you're an employer, you're an employee, and we all play different roles in how we do things. When it comes down to salary negotiations or anything we do in life, there has to be always some level of sales or marketing involved. And that holds true whether you're going to get a mortgage for your house, whether you're trying to pick up a girl or a guy in a bar, whether it's you're trying to get a new job. Okay. The key to understanding this is that the person, in the case with your salary or your new position that you're going for, the person on the other side of the desk holds the keys to what you want. Okay. That person has a problem. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sitting and talking to you. So it's being able to figure out what that problem is and how does it make that person feel. You do that by asking questions. Questions is a great way to start a conversation anyway. Okay. You know, hey, Dorothy, tell me about yourself. How long you've been with the company? What do you do here? Okay. I understand you're looking for a new sales rep. Okay. How does that make you feel? Like, are you excited about hiring somebody new? Have you been interviewing a lot of people? Ask questions. And the more questions you ask, and this is where I think people become a little confused. Conversation is about two sides. It's about me speaking to you and you speaking with me. Two people talking at the same time. Most people, when they go out for a job, they figure they'll wait for the employer to ask you questions. Well, aside from the fact that you need a job or that you need a raise or whatever it is you need, you really don't know anything else he doesn't know anything else other than that. And you don't know anything else other than that. So by you asking questions or you exchanging questions with the person that you on the other side of the desk helps you to better establish an emotional connection with that person. Humans buy when they're emotionally connected and only when they're emotionally connected. So if you think that the credentials on your resume is going to be enough to get you the job, it's probably not. Because he's probably looking at 20 or 30 resumes that have the exact same qualifications, if not more, a little less. They're all going to be in around the same thing. So what's going to make you different than the person that came in before you? What's going to make you different is going to be the emotional connection that you have with that person. And just before I stop this, okay, I just want to clarify something. Imagine for a second having no emotional connection with your wife or your husband. What would that be like? It would be horrible. Imagine having no emotional connection with your children. That would be horrible. Okay? Why should this be any different? Everybody needs emotional connection. We're human beings. We're emotional creatures. We make decisions based on emotion first, and we try to follow that through later on with either reason or rationality. But always decisions are made from an emotional base first.
Yeah, thank you for that. So when you're talking to a hiring manager for this first time, whether it's a guy or a girl, what are some of the keywords that you're listening for to tell you what their emotion is at that moment or on an ongoing basis?
Well, it's interesting because, when I was younger, and I was much younger, I was looking for a job. And one of the first things I would do is I would walk into the office and I'd look around the room. Some guy might have a canoe in his corner, or he might have a kayak stacked over in the corner somewhere. There might be a picture of him climbing Mount Everest, or he might just have a beautiful picture of his wife and kids or his dog. All of those things, or any of the one of those things, are a great way to open up the conversation. Oh my God, is that you climbing Mount Everest? Yeah, it is. Wow, can you tell me about that? People love to talk about themselves. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh my God, is that your wife and kids? Yes, it is. Oh my God, she's beautiful. Oh, thank you. Have you been married long? Oh, yeah, we've been married about 20 years. Oh, you got 3 kids? Yeah, and we've got another one on the way. Oh, great. The
Yeah.
conversation is moving.
Yeah.
So I always take the initiative because it's my place to take the initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's an old saying, the best step forward. So you have to take the first step. So we want to create some dialogue. Now, after, a little bit of time, he's going to turn around and he's going to say, okay, well, look, let's get down to it here. But this is your time in the beginning where you set the hook.
Mm-hmm.
We create an emotional bond. And how do you create an emotional bond? It's very simple. Oh, you climbed Mount Everest. Yeah, I did. Wow, that was really something. Tell me about that. So he tells me a little bit about it. You know what? I always wanted to climb Mount Everest, and I watched the show on it. Okay. And this is what the guy did. Oh, yeah. Well, I crossed that peak on the Thursday. You see what's happening here? I'm building a connection with him,
Mm-hmm.
building that connection with him or her. And it's that connection that's going to set the hook for you to get to the next level. Because remember something, when it comes down to, if all they're categorizing is your qualifications, you may have the best qualifications, you may not. Okay. But it's going to be the emotion is going to be the tipping part.
Mm-hmm.
This person here may not have the best qualifications, but man, my God, Dorothy has just a beautiful personality. I'd love to be around her.
Mm-hmm.
People buy from humans, whether it's a sale you're making, whether it's a job you're going for, it doesn't matter. People respond to humans and they respond to their emotions. So, yeah, I think the most important thing is to make that connection.
And it sounds like a couple of times you said, tell me about that. That's a pretty open-ended sentence. So is that intentional?
It is intentional because what I want him is I want him to talk. Tell me about that. Tell me about that. What is that? What was that like? How did that make you feel? Oh my God, you know what? Crossing over that bridge on a ladder, that would have scared the hell out of me. Oh yeah, it was really scary. I'm building And I want him to talk. If I wanted, that's why I leave it open. If I wanted to talk, I would close the conversation.
Yeah.
I always want to push I want to push my question to him so that he can push his question to me. It should be a situation where I give you a question, you give me a question. I give you a question, you give me a question. Okay? Because it's not all about, I need a job. He needs an employee.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be sitting together.
Mm-hmm.
Connection will be the biggest factor overall of whether you get a job or not.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
why, you know what, when I train my children, because you know what, my young son Brandon, he wanted to go out and get a job. He was like 16 years old. And he said, you know, I said, well, how are you going to do this? He said, well, I'm just going to go out with my resume, hand it in and say, can you give this to the owner? Or he'd walk into a store and he'd say, well, you know, are you hiring? No, we're not. Okay, thank you. And walk away. So I took him aside and we started doing a little bit of training. And I got him to the point where he would walk in. Is the owner here? No, he's not. Oh, okay. Well, when will he be here? I said, never leave the resume because you can't sell somebody who can't be sold.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is they bring in the resume, you hand it to the girl behind the counter. She takes that resume, throws it in the trash. Okay. Now, if that's the truth, maybe it is, maybe it's not. It will be with some. So you always want to make your best foot forward. I want to talk to the owner. Oh, he's not here right now. Great. What's his name? His name is Steve. Oh, does he have a business card? No. Well, great. Can you write down his number for me, please? Now I can phone him. Hey, Steve, it's Randy here. And I was by the store the other day and, hey, I understand that I'm sure you're looking for the best employee in the world, right? Well, I hadn't really thought about it. Well, let me ask you, if the best employee in the world just walked into your door, would you hire them? Well, probably. Great. Guess what? I'm the best employee in the world. How's a meeting for Tuesday for you? Or would Wednesday be better?
Mm-hmm.
And you see, when I trained him to do this, Brandon's now 30 years old. He still uses those same rudiments.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, even when you're applying for a job, it's the same thing. You are the best there is. And if you don't go into the meeting with that attitude,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a salesperson who goes out that doesn't expect to get the sale. You know what?
Yeah.
It's like a stink. You can smell it on the person that they have a weak personality. You want to be the best version of you. And considering the fact that we're all unique, you probably are the best version of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good point, because you hit on something I was going to ask next was, how do you prep your mind? Presumably there have been times where somebody has been intimidating because of a positional power or what's at stake or etc. So what is your mindset preparation like?
Oh, boy, you're just we're going to go down a rabbit hole here. Okay, so for me, let's take this in stages. The preparation of your mind is what you think and what you feel creates reality. Can we agree?
Yeah.
Right. So, and I've heard this over the years, positive thinking doesn't help. Well, it does help, but it doesn't help the way you think it helps. So if you spent your whole life being a miserable person, and you think, oh my God, I'm going to be a happy person now, probably isn't going to work right away. You've developed a habit in your mind and in your body that proves that you are an unhappy person. So all of a sudden you turn around and you've taken 30 years to develop that habit. You're not going to break that habit tomorrow. You're not going to break it today, but you're going to start. So the first thing you want to do is you want to understand what kind of a person you are. And this is where self-realization comes into play. Okay? Am I a happy person? Well, yeah, I'm happy. Like, are you happy all the time? Well, no, I'm not happy all the time. Well, how often are you happy? Are you more happy than you are sad? No, I'm probably. Then a lot of people will say, no, I'm neutral. Well, you can't be neutral. You either are or you aren't. It's like being almost pregnant. You either are or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You're either positive or you're negative. And if you find that most of your life is spent negative, then that's going to come through in everything you do. It's everything. Okay. The best way to look at that is to look at the people you hang out with. If those people are really happy and upbeat people, then chances are you're an upbeat person. Otherwise, they wouldn't be hanging out with you.
Mm-hmm.
If they're all negative or negative type of people, then you need to reevaluate who you're hanging out with. Okay? Because if you're a real positive person and they're really negative, they're not going to be wanting to hang out with you. So that's always a good way to start. The second thing you want to do, and it comes back to the rule that I said before, what you think and what you feel causes reality. So what you think causes what you feel, and what you feel causes more of what you think, and what you think causes more of what you feel. So it's a dirty little cycle if you're on a negative spin.
Yeah.
But it's a really great one if you're on a positive spin. Now, there are two factors that human beings have in common. One, every human being wants to be happy. Can we agree?
Yeah.
There's a caveat to that, though. Some people are happy in their own misery. Are you one of those people that are happy in your own misery? And if you're not, then you need to figure that part out. Okay? So, and again, this comes back to your own self-realization. The second thing that humans are is humans have an emotional connection to their own problems. Every single human. They are emotionally connected to their own problem. Can we agree?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if somebody says, no, I'm not emotionally connected to it, they're probably lying.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is connected to their problem. Now, this is where we start looking at the job that we're going out to see. You have a problem because you need a job. They have a problem because they need an employee. Okay? Now, again, you know what? If I need an assistant, I want my assistant to type. I want my assistant to take notes. I want my assistant to be computer literate. And I want them to have good English. So let's say I want those four things. The first, would you say that those four things are common amongst everybody? If I'm advertising the job correctly, I should be getting people that respond to the ad or to the job with those four qualifications, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They would be pretty simple things to get. Okay. So how do I choose from the 20 resumes that I got? How do I choose? Because they all do note taking, they all do typing, they all answer the phone, they all do the things that I want them to do. How do I choose? Well, you know what? Do I choose by looks? No, looks doesn't really help me anymore. Okay. I mean, you could be the prettiest girl in the world, but if you don't understand me, it's probably not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is going to be the separate? What is the thing that's going to separate you from everybody else? It's going to be the connection we have. Connection is magnetic. It drags me into you. And it also repels me from you. Okay. when you meet somebody for the first time and you look at that person and say, man, that person's not my kind of person. Okay. What do you want to do? You want to hang out with them? No, of course not. You want to get away from them.
Right.
But then on the other hand, if you meet somebody and think, man, that guy is so cool. Okay. Like you just met me this morning. And I know what you're thinking, Randy, you're so cool. Right.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
that. But there's a connection there. So what I'm saying to you is that if you can find that positive connection, you have something. Now, the only way that you can find a positive connection is if you're a positive type person.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a negative type person, you're going to find a negative connection.
Yeah.
And in this particular instance, a negative connection doesn't help you.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, this comes back to what I said earlier. Human beings want to be happy.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to be happy, happiness is more of a positive thing than a negative thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. And nobody wants to work with somebody they don't like or they don't like to hang around with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because you got to hang around with this person 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Nobody wants to do that if it's painful.
Right. So, one of the things you talk about quite often is understanding when you're having the conversation, whether it's a sales conversation, whether it's salary negotiations. You talked about writing down what you observed from the conversation or what you took away. And that was a priority of problems that other person has. So how do you determine which, you'll have like 20 problems that you'll probably discuss during the conversation. How do you determine which one to go after and align your skills to that particular problem?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, I'm one of those people that always have a pen with me everywhere I go because I need to make notes. Okay. Your computer is fine for certain things, but there's something happens when you put a pen to a piece of paper. Your brain realizes it as something a little bit more important. So what I do, and it's interesting because I'll sit there and I'll ask questions. Okay. John, what is the most important thing about this job that you're looking to fill? Well, I really need somebody who can take exceptional notes. Oh, okay. If they were able to take exceptional notes, how would that make you feel? Oh, that would be great. Really? Have you had experience where people couldn't take notes? Oh, yeah, I have. And you know what? It's really not good. You're going to start noticing body language, his eyes, his face. Okay. The way he sits in his chair. Be noticeable of the movement that he makes. Why, have you had somebody who didn't take great notes before? Oh, yeah. You know what? They were just terrible. Look at my face.
Mm.
It changes. So be aware of that body language because the body language tells you everything. Okay. And write it down. Needs notes. Feels bad. Bad experience. Bad EXP. Whatever your little notes are next to it. And then he's going to ask you, well, tell me a little bit about you. Like, what have you been doing? Well, I did this and I've done that. And you know what? Always stay with the emotion. And I always advise people that when you stay with the emotion, it always separates you from the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I worked at XYZ company, and I was there for 3 years, and I worked with John Smith. And you know what? John and I had a great relationship. You know what? He and I just knew what he was thinking. It was like his wife. I could finish his sentences for him. And you see, he's going to and then watch the body language. He likes that. Okay. Now, if he turns around and he goes, yeah, so or shrugs his shoulders, it's not an important factor for him. But he will always tell you in your body language what's going on. And then it's now your turn. Well, tell me, can you tell me other things that would be entailed in the job? Oh, yeah, I want somebody who's computer literate, speaks a good English, blah, 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 blah. John, can I ask you a question? Sure. Is my English okay? Do you like my English? Smile. Okay. When you smile, he'll smile. When you're happy, he'll be happy. Have you ever gone to a comedy show
Yeah.
and somebody makes a joke and then the guy next to you starts laughing and you start laughing?
Yeah.
It's contagious, right?
It's contagious. Yeah.
Right. When you smile, they'll smile. It's because it's a natural response. So people will say, well, you know what, I'm going for a job and this is business. Okay, so what? Should it not be enjoyable? Of course it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure you don't want to be strapped in a job that you hate.
Yeah.
Okay, like nothing will suck the life out of you faster than that.
Right.
So
Right.
allow people to share their emotions with you. And don't be afraid to share your emotions with them because that's what's going to separate you from the pack. Okay. Like I said, what's on that piece of paper? He sees 100 of those a day
Yeah.
and they all have the same qualifications. So what makes you special? Nothing on that paper is going to make you special.
Yeah.
What is going to make you special is him meeting you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be your confidence in who you are. And again, this comes back to you being the best version of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you don't believe that, they're not going to believe it.
It's absolutely true. And we talk about that all the time, that confidence, right? You have to believe in yourself. Last question I have for you, Randy, is, as a sales guy who has closed hundreds or thousands of deals, what is that secret sauce for you that from building that rapport, that connection to moving that person to a buy decision? So same thing it would apply to salary negotiations or getting a job. You build that connection. Now you've got to make the person to move to a certain decision.
Do not rush the close. Everybody wants to rush the close. Okay. And we've all seen this. We walk into and a salesperson comes in and they say, hey, Dorothy, yeah, my name is Randy and I'm with this company and we've been in business for 20 years. We have the best people, the best product, the best price, the best guarantee, the best delivery, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing interesting about any of that. And then from there, they go to the close. Well, we charge X amount of dollars for our product or X amount of dollars for our service. They've rushed the close. There's been no reason for them to buy from you. And this holds true. And the same thing when it comes to going for a job. Don't rush the close. Allow the close to manifest on its own. Okay? The more he gets to know the best of you, the closer you get to the close. The more the person gets to know who you are, the closer you get to the close. That's why when I take on a new client, I follow that new buzzword called onboarding. Okay. I'm an onboarder today. Years ago, I would be a salesperson, but today I'm an onboarder. Anyways, what I do when I take on a new client will say to me, well, you know what, Randy, this has been a great conversation. How much is this all going to cost? I tell them, I don't know. I have no idea what it's going to cost. And they said, well, is it going to cost a lot? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know enough about you. Okay. But what I can do is I can come back another time and I can get to know you a little bit more and we can talk a little bit more about your goals and we can talk about a little bit more about this. And then we can, maybe from there, we'll know better. And matter of fact, I had a call like that this morning. That's how it's fresh in my
Yeah,
mind.
you remember it. Yeah.
It's the same thing when you apply for a job. Everybody wants to close the job now. Close the deal. No. Everybody knows, everybody's heard of the saying, a 3 meeting or a 3 interview close, right? Everybody's heard of that before. Nobody makes a decision on the first call. So if you're going in to visit a customer or visit an employer for a job, I expect that it's going to go to a second interview and possibly even a third.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's definitely going to go to a second. So why try closing on the first? Because now what you've done is you've turned around and you've said to him, yeah, hire me now. Make a split decision. Make a quick decision. Usually quick decisions are bad decisions. That's why they go through a second process, third process. So if you know that going in, and that this is going to go to a second interview anyway, don't try to lock it up. Allow it to go. Now, there'll be people out there that would probably tell you the opposite to that. But if you already know that it's going to go to a second interview, and that's their policy, then why force it? Go allow the second interview to take place. As long as you're the best, as long as you're delivering the best value, as long as you're delivering the best qualifications, and as long as you're delivering, and when I say the best value of you. Okay? The reason people try to close a sale early is because they're trying to catch the customer off guard, because they don't have enough confidence. I mean, I won this guy over. Maybe maybe his assistant isn't going to like me as well. So let's close the deal now. It's the wrong way to do it. Okay? Don't be in a rush to close the sale. Allow the customer to see the value. Allow the customer to get to know who you are. And let them see the best version of you. Okay? The work, 90% of the work in finding a new job or renegotiating your salary, 90% of the work is done at home. It's not done in front of the employer. That's only 10% of the work. You have to fix you. You have to get yourself to the point where you are excited, where you're cranked up, where you are, and you know you are the best person for the job. Okay? And it's like people who do affirmations, they'll say, oh, I'm the best person. I'm the best. I look in the mirror every day and I go, I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is you've spent a whole lifetime being negative. Now all of a sudden you want to be positive. You're not going to turn that around so quick. And to be honest with you, Dorothy, I mean, I was one of those people. I was one of those people. I remember when I was very fortunate because when I was younger, I met a fellow by the name of Bob Proctor. And Bob and I were friends for 40 years. And Bob was a public speaker. You ever heard of Bob Proctor?
No.
No? Okay. Very, very successful motivator, public speaker. He was right up there with Zig Ziglar and those people.
Okay. Okay.
And anyways, Bob and I sat there one day and he said to me, he says, you can't change who you are like that. You have to practice it, like playing the piano. You have to practice. And your practice is feeling good. So how do I feel good? Well, you put yourself in positions to feel good. Okay? You don't put yourself in positions to feel bad when you're trying to feel good. And remember something, this is only about choices. So it's when people say, oh, well, I don't have a choice. You always have a choice. Sometimes the choices are bad, and you got to take the best of the worst, but you always have a choice. You have a choice to think good, or you have a choice to think bad. Now, if you've always been a negative person, well, then your brain is going to give you negative ideas. So you have to stop those. and you have to convert that to a positive idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then your brain is going to give you another negative, and you're going to have to change that. And it's going to keep doing that until that habit is being reversed.
Yeah.
And that's no different than, I think everybody knows it and understands that. Not everybody does it because it's work.
It's work. Yeah.
And nobody wants to work, Dorothy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it depends on you. How important is the quality of your life? And if you think that this is all about getting a job, it's not. It's about everything we do. It's about everything we do. Whether you need a mortgage for your house, whether you need a job, whether you need a girlfriend or a boyfriend, whether you need a relationship with one person or another. Everybody wants to be with people that make them feel good. Nobody wants to be with somebody who makes them feel bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And don't allow external things to control you. And it's funny. I'm doing a podcast later this week, and we're talking about this very thing. People think that what happens outside of you controls you. Well, bad circumstances, bad luck. I'm an unlucky person. I get bad luck. There's no such thing. I mean, in my world, there's no such thing. What happens inside of you is what takes place outside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you feel good in you and you're a happy person, happy things will come into your way. If you're negative, more negative stuff will come your way. It's like the person who gets out of bed in the morning, stubs her toe on the bed frame. Ever done that?
Yeah.
Hurts like a mother.
Yeah.
But you're swearing and going down the stairs, and you trip over one of the kids' toys on the stairs. You fall down the stairs. You get downstairs, and you go to get cream for your coffee, and you find out that the cream's all curdled. Now you go out to your car. Man, the husband didn't leave any gas in the car for me. Okay, I got to stop and get gas. Now I'm in traffic all the way to work. It just gets worse. When all you had to do was sit on the side of the bed, rub your toe for a little bit until the pain went away, and got up and just said, it's going to be a great day, and walk away. These are choices that we make in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Great way to do a conclusion to this really great session. Where can people find you? Where can they reach out?
Oh my God, Dorothy, I'm everywhere these days. People can go to my website at www.fearlessmarketer.com. I can also be reached through email, and I do answer all my emails, randy@fearlessmarketer.com. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I'm there as well.
Great. And we'll link everything in the show notes. Randy, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Dorothy, it was an honor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
There you have it, my friends. Great sales techniques that you can use in your negotiation. To wrap up, Randy gave us some practical steps that you can start taking today to master compensation negotiations. A few things that I took away are psychology first, research intensively, perfect your pitch, listen very closely, and be a counteroffer champion by preparing your responses to keep the conversation productive. If you're ready to rise up and get paid for your worth, be sure to get the free salary negotiation training at dorothyMashburn.com/fight for your worth. This is the ultimate step-by-step guide in order to help you secure a promotion or break the glass ceiling. Again, it's at dorothyMashburn.com/fight for your worth. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.